guys, I'm Woodcraft Hamster, and today I want to do a quick video about making a chopping or cutting board for when you're out at camp. Now you can make this as detailed and intricate or as basic and simple as you like. I'm going to go down the basic route, but if you wanted to sort of pretty it up a bit, there's no reason you couldn't make these for use indoors, maybe make them as gifts for people, that kind of thing. And what I've done, I've split off just an end section of a piece of birch, which is about fine for my purposes, and I'm going to use a combination of tools today. I'm actually going to use a plane, which is not something I use very regularly, but for something you want to get nice and smooth like this, although it's possible with an axe, or a combination of an axe and a knife, or an axe and a draw knife. A plane is a nice, sort of simple, easy thing to do for something like this, especially when you want it particularly square. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to start off just by using the axe, just to sort of smooth this down, sort of in a very basic way, just to try and get it sort of roughly even. You know, it will still be a little bit uneven, but the axe will bring that down a little bit before I move over to the plane. So what I'll do, I'll make a start on that. I may speed through a bit of this video because it may take a little bit of time, and then we'll move over to the next steps. What I should say, for this part, what you're really trying to do is remove as many of the high spots as you can on here. And obviously if you've got any particularly low spots, you can cut into those as well. And there's two ways you can do this. You can either cut with the grain, which is what I usually do because it's a much easier, nicer way of cutting. However, if you are trying to get something particularly flat, what you can do is actually cut against the grain. Now this is the sort of technique that's used for hewing beams and planks and that kind of thing for timber framing and sort of timber building. And what you can do, very lightly, is just cut against the grain. And this is particularly effective, again, where you've got high spots in your wood. So I'll give you an example of that. So I'm not sure you can see this particularly well on the camera if I move this around the other way a bit. So it's kind of semi-flat at the moment. There is a lot more, sort of, especially up here. So here's a high spot. And what I can do, just by using the axe across the grain, start levelling out those high spots. Right, so hopefully you can see that has now flattened out a little bit. Still not ideal, but we are getting there. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to move over now to my plane. Get an extra bit of wood there just to keep it supported. Now this plane, I mean, I've probably had this plane 10-15 years maybe. I got it, I think, from a car boot sale. Restored it a little bit, sharpened up the blade. Absolutely ideal for what I want it for. And all you want to do is just start planing down as far as you can. There'll still be high spots, and more importantly, there'll still be flat spots in there which your plane won't reach. But if you just carry on going, you know, for as long as your arms will take it, basically, and get it as smooth as you possibly can. So I'll start doing this. Again, I may speed through this footage a little bit just so it doesn't take hours to do, and we'll go from there. again, what you can do, if you find the wood's moving about too much and you don't have a vise, you just stick something under there just to give it a bit of support. Okay guys, so hopefully you can now see where I'm going with this. We've got a fairly flat surface down here. Now the board's probably only going to be about this much from here downwards anyway, so up here is not quite so important. The handle's going to come up here, which we can shape anyway. So what I'll do, I'll carry on with this. I'll smooth this down just a little bit more. You've seen what I'm doing, so there's no point doing any more of that on camera, and I'll come back when we're ready to start on the back. Right then guys, so this is now smoothed down about as far as I'm going to take it. Hopefully again you can see this here a lot smoother than when we started. And all I'm going to do now, take just a cardboard template that I use occasionally, and I'm going to mark out on here my board. And then I've got another template. This is for a larger chopping board that won't fit on here, and I'm just going to use this again to put in my handle. Now, one thing I always do when I'm marking up like this, I'll actually make everything a little bit oversized. So the handle is far too large at the moment. That just gives me a nice guide to cut down to. Same on these sides here. And what I'll do, as I'm working this will sort of, I'll move inside the lines, and just to give me a guide basically. Now, what I'll do, I'll start removing some material with the axe until we're down sort of roughly the sort of shape we want to be. I'm not going to bother touching the bark side at the back until we're roughly where we're trying to get to. It just basically saves you a little bit of a job. So what I'll do, I'll move the camera around a little bit so you get a better view, and I'll make a start using the axe.